On paper, Horizon Zero Dawn looks like a fairly average open-world adventure game. It provides a bunch of varied mechanics from platforming and stealth to shooting and crafting, and its bevy of side content will be familiar to anyone who's played an Assassin's Creed or Far Cry game in recent years. Open world designed by numbers, some might say. And yet, it feels like a breath of fresh air. Whether we're talking about the multitude of mechanics that are executed with surprising competency, or the little twists added to the familiar side content, Horizon Zero Dawn may be one of the best open world games I've played in years. And that's without mentioning its engaging world and stunning presentation. Set about 1,000 years after the fall of modern civilization, Horizon Zero Dawn follows Aloy, a young woman living as an outcast in a world that has regressed to its tribal roots. Aloy's search for answers regarding her past and how she came to live as an outcast drives the main plot, but more interesting than that is Zero Dawn's entire world. Not only have the remaining humans on Earth reverted to more primitive societies, the planet is also inhabited by various robotic creatures with mysterious origins. Uncovering this world's secrets as well as the details surrounding Aloy's hidden history kept me absolutely fixated. Thankfully, Horizon wraps that engaging plot and rich lore in a gorgeously realized world with diverse and varied settings, from sun-drenched mesas to frosty mountain trails and everything in between. Dotting the beautiful vistas are a number of remnants from the so-called Old World. Crumbling skyscrapers and cities litter the otherwise unspoilt landscape, which further strengthens the idea that this is a world with history of its own. To that end, each tribe found within the game is visually distinct, hinting at their own cultures and background without requiring you to read a single text log or piece of lore, although those can be found if you're really keen. The mechanical beasts on display offer similarly varied designs, merging more traditional animal forms with mechanical elements, achieving a bestiary full of distinct creatures that still manage to fit with one another visually. Underneath these awesome designs lie impressive animations, though for as visually brilliant as Zero Dawn is, it's not without some minor issues. At its worst, Horizon comes down with a rare case of poor lip syncing and the occasional model glitch, but I'm glad to say these were rare occurrences. Thankfully, the voice work that brings Horizon to life runs into far fewer issues. There aren't too many standout performances, but for what it's worth, I can't think of any characters I didn't enjoy talking to on some level. Ashley Birch, who voices Aloy, does a stellar job bringing a subtle confidence to the dialogue, leaving the game's protagonist sounding naturally likable instead of forced and awkward. Even when you're able to choose from multiple emotionally distinct dialogue options, Aloy feels consistent thanks to Birch's solid effort. The rest of the game's audio design gets the job done, but doesn't shine in any particular area. Most of your time spent in nature is accompanied by a minimal ambient soundtrack, but this ramps up alongside the action to fit the various situations you'll find yourself in across the course of the game. Speaking of, there are a variety of gameplay situations to be found in Horizon Zero Dawn, from all-out combat to subdued stealth sequences. As I mentioned at the start, Horizon isn't lacking when it comes to the gameplay mechanics on hand, but the most surprising aspect of its design is that even though there are so many elements, the majority of them feel fleshed out, and work as well as one might hope they would. The game's bread and butter is its hunting gameplay, which combines shooting and stealth elements in an effort to gather resources from the game's many robotic beasts. Stealth works as you might expect, with a crouch button that lets you duck behind cover and long grass to stay hidden, and an indicator to let you know how much noise you're making or how visible you are. I was satisfied to find that Zero Dawn is one of those games that nails the stealth experience. Having an enemy see you doesn't alert all of its cohorts at once, and you're given just enough leeway to shut any situation down before it gets out of hand. The AI governing most targets is also fairly well realized, as many hostiles will investigate fallen allies, noises, or glimpses of your clumsy ass. On top of that, certain robotic targets act like proper animals and will run away from loud noises and explosions, allowing you to set up some pretty involved traps if you feel like it. If you're less about the quiet approach, then the game offers numerous weapons that allow you to take the fight to your enemies, whether you're a fan of the rapid-fire rattler or the various elemental bows and trapping tools. No matter the weapon you're wielding, all-out combat is fast and frantic and feels particularly brutal when you whip out Aloy's vicious melee attack. It just feels really heavy and satisfying to use. No matter which playstyle you excel at, Horizon offers a fairly packed skill tree that allows you to upgrade Aloy's abilities, so if you find yourself leaning towards one playstyle or another, you're able to tailor your experience towards your strengths. With such polished stealth and combat mechanics, I found it surprising that, for me, the real draw of Horizon Zero Dawn was the preparation that goes into a fight, followed by the systematic dismantling of your enemy's weapons and defenses. It scratches that same itch that The Witcher 3 scratched. Sure, you could attack a Thunderjaw head-on and you might survive, but it's so much more satisfying to learn the faults in its armor and systems, and what elements it's weak to. Few things are as awe-inspiring as blasting a disc launcher off one of these fearsome mechanical T-Rexes and turning its own weapons against it. Even better is if you've managed to tear off its armor to reveal the heart of the beast. Just talking about it makes me want to go fight a Thunderjaw right now. And really, most of the scraps that you'll get into reward proper preparation. Every beast has its own weaknesses and strengths, as well as attacks that can be dodged or disabled to put you on equal footing, keeping every encounter feeling fun and fulfilling. On top of every fight being an absolute blast, each enemy can be looted for crafting materials to help you replenish ammo or consumables on the fly, or even trade for better weapons or armor with traders. The crafting options in place aren't the most in-depth, but they're certainly streamlined. Few other games come to mind when I think about quickly and easily crafting ammo mid-fight, but Horizon offers this ability and doesn't bog you down with too much detail in this regard. That's not to say there aren't more complex crafting projects that require you to stop and take stock before you create them, but for this, the game gives you the ability to track crafting projects as a side mission. Honestly, being able to focus on gathering materials in this way felt fast and easy, and I wish every game with crafting allowed you to do this. Speaking of side missions, there are a ton of side stories and activities to take on, whether you've finished the main story or are just looking to explore the fascinating world that Horizon takes place in. Plenty of these will seem familiar to anyone well acquainted to the Ubisoft school of open world game design. Viewpoints that uncover map elements, bandit camps that need clearing out, a scattering of collectibles, all of these await you in Horizon Zero Dawn. And as bland as that may seem at this point, the game pulls these elements off really well. The viewpoints are massive robotic giraffes that require you to navigate the surrounding area before Nathan draking your way up to the top of them. Bandit camps are an excellent excuse to make use of the solid stealth mechanics, while also giving the game one of its most oddly charming characters in Nil. And unlike most Ubisoft open worlds, the collectibles aren't overwhelming, and often help to flesh out the open world even more. There are also challenge dungeons called cauldrons that, when completed, allow you to override certain robots to turn them to your side momentarily. That's particularly helpful when it comes to the larger beasts that roam the world. And that's barely scratching the surface. There are hunting challenges that ask you to complete special tasks to get high scores, as well as corruption zones that put you face to face with more dangerous creatures. There is so much to do in Horizon Zero Dawn, and yet it never feels overwhelming. Horizon Zero Dawn is a must-have game for all PS4 owners, whether you're looking for a unique world to explore, rewarding combat encounters, or an engaging narrative to sink your teeth into. It also doesn't hurt that, aside from a tiny handful of graphical glitches, the game is easily one of the best looking titles on the system to date. I can't recommend Horizon Zero Dawn highly enough. Horizon Zero Dawn gets a 9.5 out of 10.